Okay, the final set of functions we're going to be looking at are match and index. Specifically match to start off with. Match on its own isn't hugely useful. It can be in certain situations, but more often than not you use it in combination with other functions, specifically index and indeed VLOOKUP, to make both of those more powerful and your spreadsheet more flexible. So what does match do? Match just matches a variable value that you're looking at and finds what position it is in a specific array. For example, let's zoom in a bit. We've got a table here. We're going to VLOOKUP. We're going to look at what column the fish are in. So look at fish, where we're going to look at it. We're going to look at it up in the heading row. Match the column. No, I don't want VLOOKUP, do I? I want match. I'm showing you match, not VLOOKUP. So we're looking at fish, and we're looking it up in this, in the column header. So basically we're asking which column from here is the fish in. Let's put a comma out there. The match type is either 0, 1 or -1. 0 is one you're going to be using most often. Again, is an exact match. The 1 and the -1, you need to have your data in numerical order. One in ascending numerical order and the other in descending numerical order, and it will find the largest or the smallest value, depending on which one you use. But in this case, we want to find the exact match, especially as it's text. So it returns the number 4. So what that's saying is that in that array, the word fish is in the 4th column. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and there it is. So if I inserted a column there, move everything to the right, fish is now in the 5th column, and that updates accordingly. And this is where it becomes useful, because one of the disadvantages of VLOOKUP is that you're telling it which column to look. Say, for example, I was looking at Portsmouth, it finds Portsmouth, and I wanted to find the fish figures. So I tell it fish are in the 4th column, 1, 2, 3, 4, which they are. However, in this case, that's not easy. That's relatively easy to count. If I've got a table with 68 columns in there, that wouldn't necessarily be that easy or straightforward to do. Furthermore, as we have just seen, if I insert or even delete columns, then that fish figure will move, and it won't be in the 4th column, but your VLOOKUP is still looking for the 4th column. So if I added a column here, it moves everything across. The 4th column would now be area, so it will return the value 1 instead of the value 1700. You can get around that with using the match function, because you basically replace the number 4 in the VLOOKUP with the match function to find out which column it is in, even if it moves. So say I'm going to look for the fish sales in Portsmouth. So I'll just do my general VLOOKUP. I'm looking for Portsmouth. I'm looking in this table, making sure store names are on the left hand side. Column index is 1, 2, 3, 4th. So the fish is the 4th, and I'm just going to choose false. So it returns the right value. But as we've just seen, if I insert column there, shift everything to the right, then the fish is actually in the 5th column. So the 4th column is now the area, 1, 2, 3, 4. So it returns the value in the area, which is 1, which is not what we're after. And the same would happen, obviously, if you delete. It's actually go the other way around. So we don't always know which column the data we're looking for is in, and this is where match comes in. So instead of putting the 4th column, we're going to match the value and return which column it is. In this case, we're looking for fish, where we're looking for it, basically in all the headings, and the match type is 0. So we replace the number 4 with match and that function there. So that will return the right value, because the match is returning value 4. But again, if I was to insert the value here, insert a column there. Fish is now in the 5th column. However, match knows fish is in the 5th column now, and still will return the right VLOOKUP value. So if your data tables tend to shift around, it's often better and safer to use match with VLOOKUP rather than just VLOOKUP on itself. Which brings us to, and what you can do in this table, for example, we could now validate that information. So if we choose data validation and chose a list, and that list was most of those headings, and Portsmouth. So if we want to validate that one as well, make it super flexible, choose all the store names, like so. So now we've got a super flexible lookup value. So we could find out what the Portsmouth fish sales are, but we could also find out what the rabbit sales are, because the match is now looking for the word rabbit in here. It finds it's in the 5th, 6th, 7th column, and then the VLOOKUP will find the 7th column data. And equally, we can just change what store it is, find out what the rabbits are in Southampton Shirley, which is 288. So we can look up any data in that table. You could even look up what the region it was in, or the area that it was in, etc. Okay, so now we're going to move on to index. Index is a fairly straightforward function. It is just an array with the row number and a column number. So, for example, index. Choose what your array is going to be. In this case, I'm going to choose the whole of the table. Then it is asking for the row number. So you can just put in any number as long as it's within that in array. So we're going to say this is the 9th row, and then the column number. So we're going to choose the 2nd column and return that value. Again, that on its own isn't particularly flexible, but what you can do, as we've seen with VLOOKUP, is compare it to the match. So we could do exactly the same as we did. So replace the 9, instead of just choosing one thing, we'll just choose match. And we're going to match what we're looking at, the look at the rows. So we're matching the store no, I'm talking rubbish. We're matching this value with this array to find out which row that value is in. And again, we're looking at the exact match, so put 0. So now I can type in the store name, and it returns the store name because I've just chosen the 2nd column. But I can change that by replacing the column number it's looking for with another match. This time matching this value with the headings. This value with the headings. Again, we're doing an exact match, so that's 0, and close that bracket. So now we got the fish, so I can change that to small animals and find out what the small animal values were. This looks exactly like we did up above with the VLOOKUP and match. But one of the advantages index match has over VLOOKUP match has is that you can look up items before in columns before that item actually is in. So let's just validate this to show you what I mean. So we want to list, so we're choosing and the same with, we're going to validate that. like so. So again, we've got two validations. This looks exactly the same. So I can find the fish, reptiles, so plant figures or guinea pig figures for that any particular store I wished, which is exactly what the other table did. The advantage of this one is, like I said, we can go before the store number. So VLOOKUP will only look up items to the right of the item we're looking up. So Portsmouth, we could easily find what the region, area, fish, plants, etc. are, but we could never find the store number. But with index and match, you can. So instead of guinea pig number, I can just put in store number, and it will come up with hopefully Rossiter's store number being 7, because you're just looking matching the column number with the row number, so it doesn't matter whether it's before or after the item you're looking up. And that's the power of index match. Most of the time, VLOOKUP works if you're not looking up things before the item. So if I don't need to know, in this case, ever the store number, just use VLOOKUP, probably with match as well, just to make it more robust, because it's nice and easy. That can turn out to be quite a complicated formula, a long formula with actually 3 different functions in it, which is fine, but you don't necessarily need that complexity every single time. So more often than not, you will be just using VLOOKUP or VLOOKUP match. But should you need to do other things, you can use the index instead of VLOOKUP. And that's the end of the functions.